Welcome to Some Good Tea, where we drink some tea and we share some tea. I'm your host, Katie, and we are celebrating NaNoWriMo this month. This week, we're sharing tea with my good friend Miranda and discussing her experience as a newly published author. Let's jump into the episode. Hi, it's Miranda. She's back again to join us for our November episodes. I'm so excited. This whole, fall is great, and then you have November, and then you have Christmas, and it's just a great time of year. Everybody who listens to my podcast now knows I freaking love Halloween, but the thing that comes after Halloween is great too, and it's Novel Writing November.
Oh, I'm excited.
Me too. The tea that we're enjoying today is by Jasmine Dragon Dehydrated Potions, and it's called Little Soldier Boy.
Which I take mild offense to, if only because it makes me sad, but...
I think it's great. I think it's a really clever name. This is a mint chocolate tea. It's locally sourced, and the creator was going for basically a thin mint.
Yeah, I'm definitely getting that.
Yeah. I was super stoked. Miranda was she's familiar with tea, and so I didn't have to be like, okay, here's like the best of the best of the best. We could have some fun with some new teas that I've gotten and I've been dying to have. And so when she was like, yeah, why don't you just surprise me? I was like, oh, snap. We're going to do Little Soldier Boy. It's still really warm, but...
It is. I feel like that works really well, though. It's like...
Yeah.
It's almost like thin mint hot chocolate.
Exactly.
Except without, like, the...
Without the thick gooiness?
Yeah.
Yeah, like the... I don't want to say gooiness.
But no, hot chocolate does kind of have a gooey-ish sort of nature.
It's funny because I love chocolate, right? Chocolate's great. Hot chocolate, wonderful. The problem I've always had with hot chocolate is so sugary. They're so sugary. And like I've had like cacao beans where you like roast them and almost like steep them like you brew them like coffee.
Yeah. Super
great. If you love your dark chocolate, that's the way to go for sure. But like hot chocolate's kind of a staple. And I got into drinking tea because I would drink a lot of hot chocolate in the wintertime because I was cold.
Yeah.
Like not because I was like, ooh, hot chocolate. You know,
right.
Like you can drink hot chocolate and be like, ooh, hot chocolate. Like this is a dessert.
Right.
You know? But I was drinking large quantities of hot chocolate because it was just a little popsicle all the time. And so then I started kind of branching out and discovered the world of tea. And I love it because it can be any flavor. It can be any sweetness. It can be hot. It can be cold. Anything. You can put milk in it, creamer, whipped cream. Oh, I know. That might be offensive to some of you, but I put whipped cream in some of my teas. Ooh, careful.
Sorry.
Anyway, we're enjoying Little Soldier Boy, and our topic for today, in line with Novel Writing November, we're going to be talking about books.
That, I think, is one of the most gremlin-sounding noises I've ever made in my life.
It was very cute, though. As per usual, there's 20 possible questions we could ask. We got our 20-sided dice. I brought my glass dice today. They're so pretty.
I love them.
They shiny. Would you like to go first?
Heck yeah.
Awesome.
That's a 9.
9. Okay. Oh, this is great. This is a good starter question. Hardcover, paperback. Does it matter? Why would you choose one over the other, or both? Do you do both?
That is a good question. The general answer is I don't care.
Books are books are books.
Right.
Yep.
I don't know. I feel like I have to be more careful with paperbacks because they just can get ruined so easily.
They are delicate little flowers.
They are very delicate.
Yeah.
And then on the other hand, with a hardcover, you've got like the dust jacket that just get destroyed as well.
Yes.
So
I know.
I've never thought about which I preferred.
Yeah. Like, okay, you have, budget's not an issue, right? Mm-hmm. You have a book you've been wanting to get. It's the first one or whatever, so you don't have to be like, oh, I got to get it so that it matches the others, right? Because there's that thing too.
Yep.
Right? So you're getting this book, and there's the hardcover copy, and then there's the paperback copy.
Which has the prettier cover art.
Okay. That's a pretty solid answer. What if they're both really pretty?
If they're both really pretty.
Or fairly similar.
I think 9 times out of 10 go for the paperback.
Okay. Any particular reason? Like it's going to get destroyed anyway?
They're easier to fit on the shelf. Okay. And I have limited shelf space.
It's very practical. It's very, very practical. I have never gotten a solid answer for myself with this question because it typically depends on, is it a book that I'm getting in a series that I already have? Because then it needs to match.
Yeah.
But I do really like having hardcover. Like I really like the way the hardcover looks on the shelf. One of my favorite things to do actually is to take the dust jackets off and see the the naked, just blank color with the names. It just looks so sleek.
And then of course some of them have like the little Easter eggs when you take off the dust jacket.
Yeah. And it's fun. It's like your book has clothes, and so you can decide, oh, this is what I want it to look like today. Or if you're taking it somewhere and you don't want the dust jacket to have a problem, or you just take it off. Yeah. But the book that you beat up, you kind of want it to be a paperback. Because if you're going to drag it around with you and go places and do things, you kind of want it to be like, well, it's a paperback, you know.
Yeah.
But there are paperbacks that I have that I got because they had better cover art than the hardbacks, which I don't know. It's a tough. I don't think there's a right or wrong answer.
Oh, absolutely not. I will say I do not have the patience to 9 times out of 10 I don't have the patience to wait. If it's out in hardcover and the rest of the books I have are paperback,
no,
I get the hardcover because I'm an impatient child.
They don't match,
and I know that. But if I really, really like it, I will get a matching set.
That's fair.
Like I'll keep the paperbacks or the first edition as like my lending copies.
That's smart.
Oh, thank you.
That's really smart. Yeah, that's a good way to do it. Because then, and that's the other thing too, is that you don't want to ever go and buy like a whole new series from an author that you've never read before.
Exactly.
And get these real pretty, like, full, complete sets, and then be like, oh no.
I hate
this. And then you have this, beautiful set of books that every time you look at it, you're like, ugh.
Yeah.
Like, every time. So, it's kind of important to, like, dip your feet in the water a little bit and make sure that's okay. You can do that with paperback real easy.
That's true. That's very true.
Unless the paperback's not out and you're like, I have to.
Well, like I said, generally, if I do that, it's a series that I've been waiting on the new book for.
Yeah.
Did not wait with the Wave Kings series.
No.
It's
okay.
Yeah.
It's a sin, but it's forgivable.
I'll take it.
That was a really good first question. Let's see what I will get. 15. This actually ties in really well. Covers can do a lot for a book. What is a really good cover you've encountered? Why do you like it so much? Etc., etc. I can think of a lot of good covers. Like, there's this saying, oh, don't judge a book by its cover. But the cover's super important.
Yeah.
The cover is super, super important. It's the first thing that your audience is going to see. Right? If they're in a bookstore or online, like your cover is the thing that they see that draws them to potentially click in, reading.
Exactly.
And getting interested. So, like, your cover is super, super important. And, like, it will also help determine if I buy the hardcover or the softcover or both, right? So it's super important. And there was, this was at like I think this was a TED Talk that I watched like a million years ago. And this cover artist was talking about like the psychology of cover design.
Ooh.
Yeah, it was fascinating.
Huh.
Yeah, I think it was a TED Talk. It was a while ago.
Yeah.
I'd have to go digging around. It was fascinating. It was so good. And they had several examples of like really good covers and like how they tied into the book and that type of thing, and then like really trashy covers and stuff. And like I'll never forget like the cover that they had for this book. It was like a nonfiction book, but the cover was done like so fast. Like it was such a fascinating take on how the cover worked for the hardback. I forget what the book was specifically about, but it had something to do with like a girl that was struggling with multiple personality disorder. Ooh. And how that was, you know, affecting like day-to-day life and education and job and everything. And the cover would literally come apart in 2 pieces. Like the sleeve. How does that work? It was so beautiful. It was so beautiful, and it was such a good, like, that is so cool. Yeah. Like, the person who did that cover art read that book, knew what it was talking about, and knew exactly, like, this is the message that needs to be sent by a cover. Like, that, I don't own that book. I wish I would have bought it. Just so I could have the cover. Like, just so I could have the cover. Because it was so well made. It was so well thought out. Like, and I'd never thought of covers like that before. You know, you kind of like see it as like the pretty picture of the scene or whatever, or like the cool lettering and things like that. And that's all important too. Like, if it's garbage art, then like I'm not going to want to read it. Right. But like cover art that gets down into the psychology of the book and how people are going to see it and the message that it's sending and like the underlying tones, like nom 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 nom. Best ever. Don't own it. Want it. I would recommend it if I remembered the name. That's my bad. But this was a while ago, but that's probably the best cover I've ever encountered.
I just want to see, like, how that would work.
It would, like, slide, like, one, you know how the paper would, like, unfold and slide? Yeah. So it'll unfold, and then one piece would slide, and the other piece would slide. I don't know how else to, like, it was almost like an origami situation. Yeah, yeah. And it was two-tone, so it was black and white, and then kind of, the white was see-through, so it would do, like, a single face. Yeah. A single, like, it was almost like a silhouette. Face, and then you'd slide it apart and it'd be 2 different faces. Like, it was so cool. It was so cool. Very simple, right? Like, the art itself was extremely simple, like silhouette art, but just beautiful. Like, so good. So good. Like, just hit it right on the head. Like, that was the perfect cover for that book. And maybe the book is trash. And I don't know, because I never bought it, didn't read it. But
the cover is so intriguing.
Yeah.
It draws you in.
Like, I'm not... like, I've read a decent amount of nonfiction. It's not usually my go-to genre. Right. But, like, if I were just, like, perusing and I saw a book with a cover that did that... Right? Yes. Right? Absolutely. I don't know what this is or what it's about, but yes.
It convinces you to give it a try.
Yeah. Yeah, which is a big thing with the cover art, right? It's part of the point. But just capturing that underlying message, like, ooh, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. I don't know if you have anything else to add to that one.
I mean, so I'm a huge Sanderson fan. And I got the secret novels, obviously. And I remember when Tress first came out. And of course, because it was a Kickstarter project and they were trying to reward, they went all in on these designs and the books. And just, I remember opening that book, or opening the box that the book was in, and it was the most beautiful book I had ever owned in my life. Aww. So I picked up the book. Like, I got the book because I trust the author to tell a good story. But, like, I remember I was sitting there in my chair with the book next to me because I couldn't start it yet because I was just so enthralled with just too enamored with how pretty it is. Yeah. And there is something I think about cover art that invites you into the world in a way other things don't. And I was very, very excited to enter that world because it made me feel special.
Oh, that's cool. That's really cool. Yeah. It can be really, really influential. So,
Yeah.
we might tell people not to, but we constantly judge books by their covers.
See, here's the thing.
Constantly.
It's a metaphor about judging other people.
Yeah.
When you look at it literally, like, go ahead and judge the book by its
You
cover.
probably should.
Yeah. I think it shows the level of care that went into the book's creation.
Yeah. And that's a lot. Like, it's
Yeah.
a huge process, but the cover is a big, big, big part of that.
Mm-hmm.
Would you like to roll the dice?
Absolutely. 14.
Look at that. Okay. I'm really curious about this for you. Are you a series person? Like trilogy? Do you like little bitty novellas, short stories? What's the best length of story for you?
The bigger the better.
Okay.
I love door stoppers.
Mm.
I if I like the world that I'm in,
You don't want to leave.
I want to stay in there. I did not finish the Chronicles of Prydain for 10 years.
10 years?
Because I loved the world so much, I didn't want it to end.
Aww.
So I finally finished it last year.
Oh my
and
gosh.
It was delightful. It was a beautiful ending.
Yeah.
But like I couldn't bring myself to leave the world behind. So
See that, yeah.
the longer the book, the better, the happier I
You
am.
want it to go on and 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 on.
Which is funny as far as my writing goes, because up until last year, I struggled to get anywhere past 50,000.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah.
So you are more, are you more comfortable writing short story stuff? Or is it just, that's how they come out? Like,
I want to get the story down, and I don't take as much time as I should with descriptions and breathing.
okay.
It's a skill I've had to learn.
Like a go, go, go kind of thing.
I was the kid in school that, like, on a test, they'd be like, they'd give you 3 lines to answer a question, and I'd answer with 1 word.
Oh, no.
I like to be concise.
You're just very direct.
I like to be direct.
Direct and clear.
And
yeah.
It's a skill I've had to develop with writing to sit in the moment and just enjoy the moment.
Interesting. I would have not thought that about you. I have the exact opposite. This is kind of a tangent, but my podcast is essentially one big tangent, so don't snort your tea. I have the exact opposite problem where I cannot shut up. I can't shut up on paper. I can't shut up in person. I can't shut up in my writing. It just keeps going. It just happens. It's a problem. Like, I've only ever taken one like creative writing class one time. It was so fun. I'm so glad that I did.
Yeah.
I just didn't have time with what my actual major was.
Yeah.
Which is a bummer, but it was for fun. And our big assignment for the semester was to do a short story, and I struggled not to write a novel.
Yep.
It was a problem. It's still a problem. Like, I want to be like, yeah, here's a story that is 1,000 words exactly, like, boom, tiny. Nope. I can't. Like, doesn't even have to be, like, creative writing, like, essays, any kind of presentation. Like, freaking PowerPoints, my notes will be 12 pages long. Like,
right?
It's a problem. It's really bad.
I mean, I enjoy the things you say.
Thank you. So then I guess a follow-up question for you. How have you learned to go from like this very direct, straightforward, limited style of writing where you're just keeping it very concise? How have you learned to like fill that out?
So this is a weird answer.
That's fine.
I grew up loving the book Watership Down.
It's so
good.
I
love Watership Down. But the movies, like every adaptation of it.
Horror movies.
Horrifying.
Okay, but okay. Have you seen the Netflix adaptation?
I have, and I did not care for it.
You did?
I did not care for it.
Oh my
and
gosh.
the issue that I have with every adaptation of it is that...
Well, it is shorter.
Well, it's shorter, but also it's shorter because they cut out all the joy. Half the beauty of the novel is you get these beautiful scenes of the characters just talking with each other in the grass or playing with each other or building something beautiful or telling a story. And when I saw that Netflix adaptation and realized why I hated it so much, that was kind of the moment I had to look at myself and be like, okay, so you want to, like, it is important to a story to see these beautiful moments. Why not let your characters sit in them?
Sit and look around at the scenery.
Exactly.
And, like, have a little conversation with your little bunny friends as you're on your little bunny adventure.
Give some moments to let the characters be happy instead of just terrible, terrible sad all the time.
Action, action, action.
Yeah.
Go, 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 go.
Exactly.
And pacing is a huge thing, right? But, like, yeah, right?
Yeah,
like, you think about the books and stories that you love, that's huge.
Yeah. You always have to have that moment with Sam and Gollum in the garden making stew.
Yes. Ugh. Could you imagine if it wasn't there?
It would be so sad.
All the memes that would suffer. What would we do without potatoes? Right? So, is that when you had that, like, conscious moment? How did you then, like, actualize?
That was the moment it was a paradigm shift. I just realized, oh, this is why I struggle with this is something I struggle with when I write. And honestly, it's just been having to kind of take a step back. Particularly when I'm outlining. I haven't really done an outline until this year.
Oh, wow, okay.
Growing up, I was like, I don't need a plan. And
you
honestly,
start from the beginning and you go to the end.
With some of the books I've written, they resisted the outline. And they changed on me constantly. So I just was like, well, outlines are garbage. I'm throwing them out the window.
Well,
and it wasn't until about this time last year I was like, okay, let's try this again, right?
Yeah.
So when I'm outlining, I do try to make sure I'm giving space for human moments.
I like that terminology a lot better because especially with all the, like, academic writing and stuff that I would do, I tend to call like those moments the, like, descriptors, the details, things you don't necessarily need for plot movement, but that you need for, like, scene setting.
Yeah.
Fluff. It's fluff. But, like, without the fluff, the little teddy bear is all sad and flat.
Right.
You know?
I like that analogy. I like that a lot.
Yeah. Or, you know, like, I'll refer to, like, my outline as, and this, like, gives away my training and how my brain works. My outline is my skeleton.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
It's the bullet points, it's the, like, chapter headings, or however you want to do it, but it's a skeleton. And then you have, like, your main scenes, your main points, but then you get to fill it all in with the muscles and the nerves and the organs, and then it becomes a living thing and it crawls off and you wonder what the heck you just created. But yeah. I kind of would always, especially when it's not creative writing, would kind of always look down on the fluff. Because there was so much pressure of, like, you need this word count. You can't have it longer or shorter. Like, you need to have this. And so you would either use the fluff to give you more words, or you would clean out the fluff to give you less and, you know, clean it up. But academic writing is so different. It's so different. And
I also I feel like there is a sense in kind of media critiquing that, well, we just want the action, we want the action, we want the action.
Oh my gosh,
and it's very annoying to me. But
yes.
I know there's just, I feel like there's it's gonna sound very weird, but, like, the idea that your characters are not allowed to be human. Where, oh, why didn't this character make this exact logical decision? Because that's not what the character would do. And that's one of the things I love about Voldemort as a character. He should have thrown Harry out the window as a baby. He would have made life so much easier. But it is such a huge part of Voldemort's character that he was magic sticking to has to be supreme over everything. He cannot do things the Muggle way. And it is a massive character flaw.
He had to send the message always, constantly.
Exactly.
He was being true to his beliefs, his core beliefs. Like, should he have just brought a gun to a wand fight? Yes.
Absolutely. But he's never going
But
to
he
do
won't.
that because that would betray his entire ideology.
Exactly.
And I feel like there has been some of that lost recently.
Yeah.
And so I like giving characters a moment to be
themselves.
Exactly.
I like that. Yeah. It's important. It's important because why do we tell stories? Why do we write? Why do we read books? It's to connect with people, places, circumstances in ways that we never would be able to otherwise. Exactly. To put ourselves in people's place, to be able to think differently, to see the world differently. And so in order to do that, we need to be able to connect with these people who aren't real.
Exactly.
So we have to have a bridge to get there, right? They have to act like people would act in those situations. They have to be approachable, whether they're the good guy, the bad guy, the supporting characters. It doesn't really matter. Like, if you want your audience to feel feelings about your writing, then it needs to be breathing. It needs to be alive. Like, Watership Down is a classic, right? And everybody always talks about how brilliant it is. And it is, because it's a story about bunnies.
Rabbits.
that, like, relocate.
Yeah.
Like, that's it. Like, that's it.
Yeah.
And, like, bunnies are cute and stuff, and it's treated as a children's story, but that is an adult story.
It is so grown up.
With some very adult, like, themes and tones and messages. And the reason why you can feel real feelings about these little rabbits on their little adventure is because they act like people would in these dire circumstances. If your home was destroyed and there was this grave danger and you and your friends were the only survivors, like, that's why you care about that story, is because those rabbits act like people. And so we can feel feelings about them.
Yeah. You give me chills, by the way.
Oh, shucks. I love Watership Down. I really, really love Watership Down. We might get into this. We're already on a tangent, but there's quite a few, like, books that we were either required to read or, you know, had to read for program or like for the summer or for school or whatever. Watership Down is one that it's like, yes, absolutely.
You know, I was never required to read that for school. It was a book my mother gave me because she loved it.
That's great.
Yeah.
Good job, Mom.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's been some books that I was required to read that I'm sure a lot of you were also required to read, that you kind of sit there and you're like, so this is a classic. I see. Interesting. I didn't know we were in the 1800s anymore.
Yeah.
And I don't, like, no shame, right? But, like, I think it would be good for us to reevaluate what makes a classic.
I agree.
What really makes a classic. But anyway, Watership Down, beautiful example of how to write, how to tell stories, and also just a very good story.
Just such a good
story. Just a very rich, good story about bunnies.
About rabbits.
About little bunnies. And, like, I really liked the Netflix adoration because it was the only one that wasn't just, like, a horror show.
That
like,
is fair.
There are some other cartoons out there that are, like, my gosh, I don't know what the animators were doing. No hate, no shade, but, like, dang, guys.
Right.
Calm down. We don't need an R-rated cartoon about rabbits being murdered.
Right.
All right. So anyway, I actually really, really liked the Netflix one, but it does skip through a lot of details, right? And, like, any TV show, any movie from a book, it's never going to be as good as the book. Right. There'll always be things missing.
Except for holes.
Oh my gosh, holes. I could go on about that book. I freaking love that book. Love that movie. The soundtrack is amazing.
I finally added the book to my library.
It's such a good book.
I'm so happy.
It's such a great book. I remember reading that when I was, like, really young and just being enamored by it. And being so bummed. Okay, peaches, great. Onions, not. Okay? Have you ever bitten into an onion? It is a nasty time. It's a bad time. That book will make you think like onions are the thing. They're not the thing. Okay. They are not the thing.
Can I ask, how old were you when you decided to bite into a raw onion?
I didn't. I convinced my brothers to.
So you went about it the smart way.
I'm not dumb. I've never been dumb. Okay? I'll play D&D characters that are dumb. I'll write about people who are dumb. I'll observe all the other dumb humans. I will not bite into a raw onion. You can smell that. Like, you know it's bad. And like they're good on like, you know, in things, right. On things. I love onions. The right onion, the right combo. It's like, great. But you never have like a slice of like a purple onion in your salad that you're like, you know what, this would be great if this was all I was eating. Like, but that book will make you believe in onions. Like you've never believed in onions before. I remember watching the movie and just being like, I wish onions tasted as good as they make them look.
I know,
like,
right?
They look like they taste so good. They don't. No. They don't. They're good in things and on things, but not just like an not apple. Straight. Just ugh. Okay. Well, that was great.
That was a tangent and a half.
Yeah. Do you want to roll the dice again?
I think it's your turn.
Is it my turn?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Okay. We'll do that. I haven't talked enough. Is that a 6? We have not done 6. Look at us bouncing back and forth. Oh. This is kind of an interesting question. Okay. We all know a good start to a book is absolutely essential. Mm-hmm. A solid ending is also very important, right? But what about the middle? Is there a book you know of that really rocks that middle ground?
Ooh.
Yeah. I'm going to have to think about this. Really rocking the middle ground. Honestly, like the very first one that comes to mind, and this is just a good book all the way through. There was a movie that was made of this. I haven't watched it because it's really sad. Oh. Yeah, it's really, really sad. It's a very much a feel all the feelings book and movie. And a roommate and I listened to this book on a road trip. Like a very long road trip. Okay. It was like a there and back again, and we were listening to it both ways. And it's called A Man Named Ove. And it is just a beautiful story. An absolutely beautiful story about this little old man. And like a very unassuming kind of book. Like she had heard really good reviews about it and got it on her Audible, and we had this long road trip, and so I was like, yeah, sure. And the beginning was kind of like predictable, and the ending just kind of gouges out your heart a little bit. But the reason why it does is because the middle of the building of this character and who he is and learning about his life and where he was and where he's at now and just connecting with him. Oh my gosh. Like, I just love that little old man. I just love that little old man. And like, I would have never, I'm not, like I said, I'm not huge into nonfiction. Honestly, like I'll pretty much read anything. Right. But I have my kind of go-tos of like, I know I'll probably like this genre or whatever. And I didn't pick this book, but I love that book. And it's because of that human connection, right? That we kind of talked about. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful story. Will make you cry. Like multiple times. Yeah. It'll make you cry. Same thing with the movie. I have not watched it because I know. Because I already know, and as much as I would love to like just kind of pay them for doing a good job and doing good art, I don't want to watch it because it's sad. It's a happy sad, right? Right. It's a happy sad, you know, with how things end up for him and for his family and his neighbors, and like kind of the relationship that all gets built is like, aw, but oh man, they just get you to care about this little old unassuming man. It's just like, gosh dang it. And it's because it has that middle ground. They really knew how to build that character connection. So yeah, that's the one that immediately comes to mind for me. I don't know if you...
I've never heard of it before.
Man Named Ove. It's great. I highly recommend it. Anybody who hasn't read it, you should.
Okay.
It's one of those, like, it's going to make you feel feelings.
Uh-huh.
You're going to feel connected to this person that's not real. And it's great. It's just a really beautiful story. And if you're wanting to learn how to write a character that someone will care a lot about without there really being a lot of action or adventure or anything, just a person living their life, you want to learn how to write that kind of character, read this book.
Okay.
Because, like, it's not an action adventure anything, right? There's definitely some scenes and points throughout his, like, history that kind of get retold that are like, ooh, wow. But it's not, like, your typical, like, action story, right? It's just you connecting with this human that's not real. And so if you want to learn how to write a really good, solid, relatable person that you can make your readers cry about, this is the book to read.
Good to know.
That is the book to read.
Deeply addicting, by the way.
It's really nice. It's really, really nice. They have some absolutely wonderful loose leaf teas. And like I said, I was super excited to be able to do this one. I love mint tea. I love chocolate tea. And I've always wondered, like, what if I brew this together? This is that. And I don't have to mix it myself. They got it really well. I think we have time for maybe one more question and another ensuing tangent, as I'm sure will happen.
All right.
So if you would like to roll the dice.
That's an 11.
11. Man, we've been hanging out just right in the middle.
Right
so
in the middle
cozy.
Uh-oh.
Buckle up.
Okay.
Do you dog ear or fold pages?
No.
Or write in the margins?
Absolutely. Okay. I will not dog ear a book ever. It annoys the crap out of me. Why would you crease? What? Here's the thing. Why would you crease the page of a book? There are bookmarks. There are so many other options. Why are you intentionally damaging a book to mark your place of all things? You are going to not need that dog ear in a day. Why would you do it? Clearly, I have strong feelings on this.
I was really, really hoping for that exact reaction from anybody that got this question. Because I feel the same, but I want to play devil's advocate, like, so bad.
Okay.
Right? Because, like, what if I don't have a bookmark? It's so easy to just fold it.
Then remember the number. Remember the page number. It's not that hard.
It's so easy to just fold it. Just fold it. And then you know exactly where you've been. Where you are.
Okay, that works for one time through. And then if you want to reread the book,
you don't leave it folded. You know, you unfold it and then there's a little line, but you know, it's fine.
No, it's not. I do not
mind.
What
about if you just take a couple of pages and curl them in? Guys, if you could see your face.
No.
It works. It doesn't have a big old crease.
Here's the thing. I do not mind a book that looks well loved. I don't even mind if you get a little teeny insignificant amount of if you're eating chocolate and you get a little bit smeared on the edge of the page, it shows you had a life and you were enjoying the book.
Food happens.
Why are you intentionally damaging a book?
Okay. What if it's the hardcovers, right? They got that nice little cover jacket. You can unfold it and just stick it.
I will admit, I have done that.
Have you done that?
I did that all through my high school years with my hardcovers, and
it will wreck that.
It wrecks it, and I don't like it. It's frustrating to me.
What am I supposed to do if I don't have a bookmark?
If you don't have a bookmark,
do you leave it face down? Fully open and break the spine?
If you are coming back in 5 minutes, sure.
Okay. That's acceptable.
If you are putting it down long enough to find a scrap of paper you can put in the book, you don't have a receipt lying around, you can find a paper towel, something other than snap, crease. Like, no!
Okay.
Yeah, no, I have very strong, other small forms, again, the unfolding of the dust jacket and everything, like, it works.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of, because, like, I feel like the dust jacket is there to get wrecked a little bit in service
That
of
is
protecting
kind of
the book.
why dust jackets are a dust jacket, right? To keep the dust off of the actual book.
It bothers me less.
Okay.
But there is something about dog-earing a book. It doesn't make sense to me. And it's, again, intentionally destroying something that you don't want. I don't know, maybe other people don't care about these books, but like if I've bought this book,
Mm-hmm.
it means I like it and I want to keep it.
Yeah.
And I want to go back to it.
Yeah.
Why would I wreck it?
Okay.
That being said,
yeah,
if I have multiple copies of a book, I don't mind scribbling in the margins.
Okay. Yeah.
Again, that gives it the sense of it being well loved.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I've purposefully bought like a second like paperback copy of a book to write in the margins and do my thing.
Exactly.
I don't dog ear, but it's not because I feel as strongly about it as you do. But it's because it's like, just stick a thing, like whatever.
Right. It is not hard to look around and find something you can. I've used pieces of mail before.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think I've ever even, I've never even dog-eared a textbook, but that was usually like the goal was always to like sell the textbook back.
Exactly. You don't want to damage anything.
And they're like, if it's damaged and whatever, we're only going to pay you $4 for this $300 textbook anyway.
I know.
And so it's just like, well, I guess I'm going to wrap this in cellophane and never open it. But yeah, I never even dog-eared my textbooks, like, and some of them I kept. Some of them I kept for a while because it's like, okay, this is going to be useful. Like, yeah, some of them were useful for multiple classes, multiple years, and so I kept them. Still wouldn't dog ear. The ones that I kept, I have like, you can look back and see there's notes and things. Some of them I would take to lecture or whatever, but would never ever dog ear. Definitely have like taken a grouping of like 4 or 5 pages to like fold over, to like mark multiple places. In textbooks only, but never a like a casual book.
Right.
Yeah.
Like if I have spent money on this thing for my enjoyment, I want it to be last. Pretty.
So okay, then there's some pretty cool YouTube videos of people like folding book pages into art.
Mm-hmm. Because that book was specifically bought for that purpose. Mm-hmm. I don't mind it. Like, they bought it specifically because they wanted to make pretty art. And as long as it's not, like, a super rare book that, like, you are never gonna find ever again.
That would be sad. That would be super sad.
Like, I love Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Those books you can find anywhere.
Yeah.
And so I, like, if you're gonna buy a Harry Potter book to cut it up and make art with it, go for it. There are a dozen more copies at the bookstore.
So many.
Yeah.
That's fair. All right. I knew this would be controversial, and I wanted to know. And now we know how Miranda feels about you dog-ear people out there. How dare you? Oh, it's so funny. That's so funny. Well, this has been really good.
Yeah.
For anybody who hasn't like caught on, Miranda's an author.
Hi. Yeah.
Yeah. Miranda's an author. I've had the privilege of reading, of beta reading for you one time, and was really, 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 really bad about getting you your notes back.
Honestly, no, when I give out a beta read, I expect to get like 2 to 3 people to respond, and you were one of the people that responded.
I did respond. I take it as an honor and a privilege to beta read or edit or anything for anybody ever. So I do try to make sure that I do it within a time frame, but I'm also dead all the time.
Yep.
So there's that. But yeah, Miranda has some really fun writing that she's been working on, been getting ready to publish.
Been published.
Yeah, at this point.
It at the end of October. mid-October, I guess.
Yeah, I was gonna say that was yesterday. Yeah. So as of recording this episode, that was yesterday. But yeah, I'm really excited. She sent out pictures to our like group of friends of your first copy, like your first physical copy.
I'm so excited. I love that thing. Like, it's not even like the pretty copy. It's the proof copy with like the bar across it that says not for resale and everything. But I'm still like, I have it and it's lovely. And I'm so excited.
You wrote the whole thing.
I did.
That's so cool. That's so cool. Do you want to talk just a little bit about what that experience was like how you went about going from a draft to being published?
It was a lot of crash course.
Yeah.
Because when I decided to self-publish, I did not. I was hoping there was a way to like plug the draft in and get like an algorithm that would typeset it, and no. Now I had to do all of that by hand.
No.
In 2 days.
Not yet.
And,
no AI for that yet.
I actually really enjoyed typesetting.
Cool.
I found if I ever, through some strange twist of fate, end up working for a publishing company, I would love to work as a typesetter. That's was great. A lot of fun.
That's pretty great.
By the end of those 2 days where I was typesetting my own book, I was exhausted because I was doing work and then coming home. I had
and doing more work.
A couple hours maybe to unwind and eat, and then I was back at my computer with my head down.
Typity type. To
the wee hours of the morning.
Oh gosh.
And I feel like it was worth it. I gained a lot of experience. I am proud of the product. It's got some mistakes, but it was my first time typesetting, so I'm pleased with the results.
Everybody has a first. Right? There's one has got to be the first. You got to pick one to be the first, so might as well.
I will say, I wish I'd given myself more time.
Yeah, 2 days is a little intense. 2 days is a little intense. You don't have the longest book ever.
No.
Right?
No.
If you really wanted to torture yourself, you could have picked a longer one.
Right.
But 2 days is intense.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, I really enjoyed it. I have this problem where I get in my head. I have this deadline, and I need to hit it by this deadline. Yeah. And I have to do it. And it had already been pushed back so many times, it wouldn't have mattered.
No.
But I felt like that was a line I didn't want to cross again, is pushing that back.
Yeah, that's fair.
And so,
keeping yourself, especially as a self-published author,
exactly.
The only one who's really keeping you accountable is you.
Right.
Right? Yeah.
So...
Yeah.
Next time I'm giving myself more time to typeset, I'd like to give myself at least a week to do that and do it
Probably, just so your poor little brain doesn't die. You know? Yeah.
But it was a very fun process.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
That's super awesome. I'm so stoked for you.
Thanks.
So, thank you so much for being on my podcast.
Thank you for having me. I really enjoy it.
Yeah. I hope all the aspiring writers and authors out there are having a successful NaNoWriMo so far, and that maybe you can listen to this podcast and motivate you to not dog-ear your pages and to make sure you have hardcover, softcover, all the things in between. Have a good middle. And don't try to typeset your whole book in 2 days. Oh, this is all we have time for today, guys. But we will talk at you later.